These are such challenging times. It's almost like we're scared to breathe. Take one clear breath with me now. Take one clear breath with me now. If your mind wanders, because it will, it's full of fear, problems. What next? Come back to the breath. Stay with the breath. If your mind wanders, because it will, because that's what it does, come back to the breath. There's a virus, you know. It's dangerous, making people very sick. But that's not the virus that really scares me. There's another virus too. And that one infects your mind. Your fear. It's very contagious. It's everywhere. And that's the virus that I can help you with. Because whatever the outcome of this, the only really control you have is in tackling that virus in your head. The worries. The fears. Come back to the breath. Stay with me. Hold your full attention with me. Because I want to show you how to break the spell. How to free yourself from that virus in your mind. It's a coronavirus. Corona. I think that's an interesting word, corona. Because the corona is the light that's emanated from the sun. It's called the corona. In Hindu traditions, they might talk about the crown chakra, corona, the point of realization. When a baby is born, as its head starts to come into the world for the first time, they call that crowning, a giving birth. Because as terrible as this virus is, there's another side. There's another possibility. I don't know what's coming. No one does. But we can be absolutely sure of is the world isn't ever going to be the same again. And you know what? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe out of this terrible thing, something else can be born. A new world. A better world. And as terrible as this is the opportunity that this virus gives us. We're all very likely facing a period of quite long confinement, isolation. Be forced to be with ourselves, maybe for the first time in our lives. To be with ourselves. With nothing to do. An interesting experiment. Come back to the breath. The world that arises from this will be different. The kind of world that we come out of isolation into depends upon you. It depends upon how effectively you deal with this, how you manage yourself through this crisis, through the challenges ahead of us. Because if we can manage ourselves well, if we can be conscious, then something better comes for this. I'd like to thank you all for coming here, for joining us. And over the next 6 weeks, I would like to take you on a journey. I want to take you on a journey that takes no time, that there's nothing to learn. And when you've completed this journey, you will be free, have the tools to free yourself from that virus in your mind. Stay with me. Just going to open the door. Hold your attention on your breath. And I want you to make yourself as alert and alive as you possibly can. Because you'll be living in an awful dream, a nightmare. So I want you to wake up. Wake up. Now, wake up. Really awake. Wake up. Are you here? Are you totally here? Are you totally awake, totally alive right now? Wake up here with me now. Here. Alive. Wake. Now wait for your next thought. Wait. Did you get a gap? Did you get a little space in your mind? Try again. Awake. Alert. Alive. Fully here. Now think about thinking. Get a moment of quiet. A little gap. A moment where there were no thoughts. Try again. Think about thinking. Can you see the gap? This is where we break the spell. Follow my logic. If there was a moment where you are completely alert, completely alive, fully awake, but free of thought, silent. Did you get that? With the voices in your head went quiet. Do you all get that? That means something really important. It means that those voices in your head that pretend to be you are not you. They can't be. Because you're more alive when you're not thinking than when you are. So those voices in your head are just thoughts. This is the virus in your mind. Just thoughts. They're not you. And now you know you're not your thoughts. Well, you've got a chance, haven't you? Because boy, have I been stitching you up. 90% of your fear, your anger, your heartache, your loss, your regrets, your disappointments, it's not caused by actually what is happening here now, in this moment. Actually, you're all okay. Everything's fine right now. This moment. %90 of your fear is caused by the thoughts in your head. Am I right? What might happen, or what could happen, or what may happen, and then what? If there's a situation you need to deal with it. But the vast majority of the fear that your mind creates is not real. It's what could happen or may happen. Come back to the breath. Stay with me. Hold your attention here. And there's that gap again. From here, you can watch. Just notice. Notice your thoughts. See where they go. What do they do? Do they like to worry? Are they angry? Do they beat you up? They tell you off? They pick on you? Do they even like you? Just watch. And see how that virus in your mind creates your suffering. 90% of the emotional pain that you experience on a day-to-day basis is not caused by what is happening here now in reality, but it's caused by the thoughts in your head. Now, there's enough real stuff to deal with. I'm not denying that. Now, there's really serious challenge we're all facing. But let's just deal with what is real, not the next thing on the middle. That's awful. The virus doesn't get you the stress well. Stay with me. It's the voice in your head likes to tell you off. It's telling you off for that. Can you hear it? So stay with him. Stay here with me and watch. Watch the thoughts. Can you see? They don't like to be looked at. When you start watching, something really interesting starts to happen. Have you noticed? They hide, don't they? There's a gap that starts to appear between you and your thoughts. The virus is losing its grip. Because every time you see a thought, then you are no longer the thought. I'd call it a virus, I'm being very unkind. Because it could be a useful tool. Powerful tool. When it's not cluttered with all that unnecessary, unhelpful, involuntary thinking. Because maybe 1 in 10 of your thoughts is useful to you. 9 out of 10 thoughts are repetitive thoughts you've had 1,000 times today already. Some of these thoughts go back generations. And a good proportion of them are problematic, aren't they? Pain-provoking. But now you're watching. They're losing their grip. Because every time you see a thought, you're no longer the thought. It doesn't seem quite so convincing anymore. But when you stop listening to them, you can listen to something else. Something far more intelligent. But we won't go there just yet. So watch your thoughts. Don't argue with them. Because then there's 2 of them up there. And that one wasn't bad enough. Don't try and understand your thoughts. Don't rationalize your thoughts. Don't do a PhD in your thoughts. Don't even try and change your thoughts. I mean, of course, a positive thought may be more helpful than a negative one, but even they can be problematic, and we'll explore that more as we go on. Just notice, where does your mind go? What does it do? Just notice. Is that thought helpful to me? Or is it not helpful to me? Am I worrying again? Am I telling myself off again? Am I beating myself up again? Am I judging myself again? Oh, there it goes again, moaning, moaning, moaning. Well, how can you enjoy your life with that going on in your head? So here's what you do. When you see your mind wandering off on one of those pain-provoking patterns or an unhelpful pattern of thinking, breathe while you still can. Back to the breath. Your breath is your anchor. God, it's strange. I was scared to breathe. Breathing's okay as long as you stay 6 feet apart, right? Just this one clear breath. And there's the gap again. You see? So here's what you do. You see your mind wandering off. Oh, problems, worries, issues, then what, maybes, oh, regrets. Oh. Breathe. And we're back. And there's that space. Now to begin with, you're going to get pulled off a lot. It's not going to stop doing what it does. You're in the grip of the virus. It will continue to do what it does. But every time you notice, every time you come back to the breath, it loses its power over you. And that space of awareness gets a bit bigger and a bit bigger and a bit bigger and a bit bigger. The bigger it gets, the more you see. The more you see, the bigger it gets. Stay here, back to the breath. I've got to teach you. I can't teach you anything. I'm just helping you open the door. Stay with me. You already have this. It's already in you. We've got an interesting few weeks ahead. Stay with me. Stay with the breath. Stay with the breath. Stay with me. So, your practice is to watch your thoughts. So how do we cultivate this state of awareness? How do we cultivate this state of awareness? Bring your full attention into the present moment. I want to be absolutely 100% here and now. "100% here and now." Not a second forward, not a second back. Are you here? Are we here? Can you see what happens? See how that space of awareness opens up, how we're back watching. So what I encourage you to do is, as best as you possibly can, is to keep your attention in the here and now. Totally here. Resting in the present moment. Because if you can rest in the present moment, then that space of awareness, that space of mindfulness opens up inside you. Here and now. And you've always got now. That's the great thing about this. You don't have to wait. You can only do it now. So be here now. That space opens up in your mind. I'll give you another very good reason for living in the now. The secret. If I tell you the secret, you can't unknow the secret. And once you know the secret, that's it. It will change your life forever. Are you sure you want to know? Leave the room if you do. Now, this present moment is all that exists. It is only now. The past and the future are nothing more than thoughts in your head. The past only exists when you remember it as a memory. And the future is just a rubbish guess. And boy, were you wrong, weren't you? You didn't see this one coming, did you? So much for the future, right? But the past is just a memory. And the future is just a very poor guess. Which is a bit of a relief, isn't it? Because that means all you have to do is to concentrate on the here and now. And that's the practice. I'd encourage you, as best as you possibly can, to hold your attention, your concentration here in the present moment. Maybe we could use the breath. That's the easiest way. That breath. And we're back, and we're back, and we're back, and we're here in the now, in the present moment, anchored in reality. Here and now. This is it. This is it. This is it. Past, future are just thoughts in your head. That's all they are. And they are the source of pretty much all of your suffering. Oh dear, living in the past. If there's pain, trauma in the past, of course, there's trauma, but there's trauma in the past. There is a tension, almost a need to revisit it, to replay it in our minds over and over and over and over and over and over again. Like it wasn't bad enough the first time. But every time we replay that story, that memory, we feel the emotional content of that memory again. We feel pain. Not relieving ourselves of pain. It is a perpetuation of our suffering. Heartache. We feel lost. We're human beings. If we lose someone closest, we grieve. If we feel lost, but the replaying of the unhappy stories and all the losses and suffering can consume people. Lost in their, completely absorbed in suffering. That's so terrible. If your mind does this, that's not your choosing. You don't choose that. You wouldn't choose that. Which is why it's so important to watch. Because if you're watching, you wouldn't choose that. You might take a deep breath. Heartache, loss, regrets. It's past thinking. Resentments. Oh, do you hold on to resentments? Do you resent people? What they did to me. How could they do that to me? Do you hold on to resentments? Angry. These resentments. Who do they hurt? Who do they hurt? Well, they hurt you, don't they? Resentments hurt you. Be bitter and angry. That'll teach them. It's like taking poison and expecting somebody else to die. Let go of your resentments. It's okay. I don't even know you're there being resented. It's not affecting them. It's affecting you. Let yourself off the hook. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to watch your thoughts. And when you see your thoughts wandering off into the past, remind you of that awful thing. To go over that resentment again. Come back. Come back to now. And every time you do that, every time you notice your breath, an energy charge. It's broken. There's an energy taken away from that pattern of thinking. It's getting weaker and weaker. Now, don't think happy thoughts, happy past thoughts are going to let you off the hook. Yeah, they may give a bit of a lift. You start thinking about all the things you've lost. How wonderful it was before all of this. Then you're going to feel pretty awful. Because the gap between where you find yourself now and this happy, happy past is that's loss. And being confined to a small space in isolation is hard enough. And carrying all that loss too. A lot of people with depression, depressed because they're living in a happy past. There is only now. It's all right. It's okay. I'm okay with this. Nothing here I can't handle. Still breathing. And then there's the future. Oh no. It's even worse. I don't want to upset you anymore, but the future's not great. The future's going to be terrible. Because even if you do get through this crisis, and I'm sure most of us will, maybe not, who knows, who cares? When you get through this crisis, what I do know is you're going to die eventually, aren't you? The future's going to kill you. So what's the rush to get there? You see, even wanting all this to be over is adding to your suffering. Wanting. chasing. When this is all over, in the future, that'll be all right. So it's interesting times, these. Interesting times. All those things that you thought would make you happy. When I get there, when I've done that, when I've achieved my goals, well, that's all been taken from you. That's not the world as it is now. But you haven't lost anything. You haven't lost anything. Because it was only a thought in your head anyway. And even before all this happened, you were suffering. Suffering with wanting and craving and chasing. And I need to get to the future. To get there. And when I get there, I'll be all right. When I get there, then I'll be all right. Then I can be happy. Yeah. Just chasing more. And more, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And no matter how much you achieved ever on a material level, it will never be enough. You're looking for yourself in the future. We've got to stop that. Maybe that's one of the lessons that will come out of this. The answer's not in the future. The answer is always now. There is no future. And the quality of the future that emerges from now is entirely dependent upon the depth of concentration, the quality of your attention, what you bring to the challenges presented in this present moment. That's what determines your future. But Tom, that's suffering. Maybe we're starting to appreciate how rich we were, how much we had. But we were always in poverty, even when we had it all. Because we were looking for ourselves in the future. When I get there, when I've achieved this, then I can be happy. Then I can be happy. In the future, I can be happy. In the future, I'll be happy. In the future, I'll be fulfilled. But you can't be fulfilled in the future. Because the future, as all of you have discovered very painfully, is a very poor guess. And all the time you're looking to be happy in the future, you're missing the point. You don't need to wait to be fulfilled. You don't need to wait to be happy. You don't need to wait to be abundant. All you need to do is to realize now. Do you see? Even with all this going on, right now you're okay. You can deal with this. You can be happy now. Even in the midst of all the fear and the panic. You can just choose in this moment to be okay. It's more than okay when you really start to look. Stay with me. Back to the breath. Having a rest from all of that. Because there's the other future too, isn't there? Oh no. Where are we going? Stop watching the news. You keep an eye on things. Oh dear. This is going to happen. And that's going to happen. It's going to be terrible. Do you see? Do you see what that does? Yeah. That creates fear. Now, the moment you go, you're okay. We just demonstrated that if you bring your attention fully here into the moment, we're here and alive now. Yeah, I'm okay. It's all right. I can deal with this. But I can't deal with what's going to happen. And then what? And then what? And then what? No, I'm not saying that we don't plan, but planning is a role. But we're trying to control a future that doesn't exist with thoughts that don't leave our heads. It even sounds mad, doesn't it? Here and now, back to me. Come back to the now, back to the now. Stay with me, because this is the teaching. Teaching is the attention in the present moment. Nothing I'm telling you is helpful. I'm just entertaining you while you hold your attention here. And here we are. That's good. Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. See your mind wandering. It's going to. It's distracted. It's going to want to pick up that worry again, or that problem, or that issue you've gone around 20,000 times a day already. It's going to want to do that. You're addicted to them. But now you've got a chance, because you know you're not your thoughts, and you're learning to watch, and you know that now is all there is, and you still have your breath. So our mind might worry what might happen or could happen. Panic. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't things that you might need to do if the situation arises. You might even need to do a little bit of planning. I'm not saying otherwise. But what I'm suggesting to you is that you realize that your plans are just a guess. And rather than trying to force your plan into reality, it's incredibly stressful. Yeah, it should be like this. Well, it isn't. But it should be. I know, but it isn't. But that's not what I planned. No. It's all wrong because it's not what I planned. Now you suffer. What I'm suggesting to you is that if the present moment does not conform to your plan, that means something really important. It means that you are wrong. Not the present moment's wrong. Not reality's wrong. You're wrong. And that's a really useful thing to know, isn't it? Because if you realize you're wrong, you can adapt and change according to reality rather than resisting reality, because it's not what you planned. And we're in a rapidly changing world. And the people that come out of this best will be those who adapt and change according to reality rather than resisting reality because it's not what it was or what they thought it would be. Do you get me? So stay here with me now. And we're back to the breath. So here's the practice. What I want you to do, as best as you possibly can, is to hold your attention in the here and now. Whenever you see your mind wandering off to the future, it's going to be great. It's going to be terrible. Come back to the breath. Every time you see your mind wandering off to the past, to remind you how great you used to be, which is going to make you feel awful. Or reliving some argument you had with somebody yesterday, or some awful thing that happened. Come back to the breath. Now, over the next week, you're going to maybe spending a lot of time with yourself, with that head of yours. And if you're going to survive this, I'd encourage you to practice as good as you possibly can. Now, I'm not pretending this is easy. If your mind is prone to problems or to worries or to issues, it's not going to stop. And you might have to bring your attention back to now 10,000 times a day, maybe. But every time you do that, that space of awareness gets a bit bigger and a bit bigger and a bit bigger and a bit bigger. And the thoughts get weaker and weaker and weaker. It's an interesting experiment, isn't it? Experiment ourselves as we go through this process. How effectively can you manage your own mind? Because this could be the making of you. Because here's what's really interesting. As you start to create that mental space, you start to tap into other aspects of your intelligence. Your creative intelligence, your insight, your intuitive intelligence. You start to have fresh ideas. Perceive the things that have never been thought of before because it's not coming from your past. This is not driven from your past. Because that's the problem when we're operating from thought. It's conditioned from the past. This is not what I'm talking about here. Because what I can tell you with absolute certainty is nothing new will come from the past. And what we really need now, what humanity needs now is a fresh approach. And that's not coming from what's been before. That's not from the past. New ideas, new solutions, new possibilities. Things that have never been conceived of before. That's contained within that space. A vast intelligence, way beyond the limited understanding of your intellectual thought. And as you start to stand back and observe your thoughts, you'll become painfully aware of the dysfunction of your mind and start to see the limitations of our thinking. And as individuals, and I think as a species, We reach peak madness. What I'm offering you is a way out of that madness, a way out of that. By holding your attention here and now. Just as simple as this breath. This breath. That space opens up in your mind. And that's where fresh ideas are. That's where real intelligence is. Your thoughts are a tool. You need them to function in this world. They're helpful. But when driven from an intelligence smarter than it, that's what I'm pointing towards. And maybe that's what this coronavirus represents. A rebirthing of mind, a rebirthing of a discovery of intelligence beyond intellect, a new understanding, a new way of living, beyond the problems or worries and limitations of that time-based, thought-based reality. Not telling you this isn't important, because I'm not pointing you towards a belief. I don't want you to believe me, because a belief is another layer of thought. It is just another obstacle. So this is not about belief. We're transcending belief. Because no matter what that belief is, whether that's scientific belief or religious belief or world beliefs, views we have about the world and ourselves, that no matter how grandiose and spectacular that belief, it is still a prison. It's a thought prison. Because now we have to rule out and reject all possibilities beyond belief. And that's the world I want you to explore with me. Where there is no belief, where there is no understanding, where we're free of those obstacles and experience things directly as they are. That's how we free ourselves from the virus in our minds. Come back to now. Stay with me. So your homework is to breathe. And to remind yourself that now is all that exists. And to remind yourself that the past and the future are just ghosts in your mind. That the present moment is the only thing you ever have to deal with. And whatever challenges you face in this present moment, bring your full attention to them in the here and now. And if you do that, then you will do it well, fully, with awareness. And that's how you determine your future. If you don't have a meditation practice, get one. Something as simple as 10 minutes mindfulness of breathing. If you could do 10 minutes of mindfulness of breathing every day, that would really help cultivate this state of awareness. And to finish this session, I invite you to join me in a short breathing meditation. I invite you to close your eyes. And bring your attention into your body. And just feel yourself breathing. Feel yourself breathing. If thoughts come into your head, that's fine, that's normal. You may carry you away. It's okay. But as soon as you notice that your thoughts have been distracted, I want you to center your mind back to the breath. Center your mind back to the breath. Thoughts come in and they carry you away. It's normal. When you see that happen, gently bring your attention back to the breath. To the here and now. Sometimes you might drop away into a beautiful, peaceful, still space. Other times you might just watch your head chatter or worry or whatever it does. That's fine. Just this breath. There's just this breath. There's no next breath. There's just this breath. Stay with this breath. Now holding your attention on your breath, keeping your alert, focused attention on your breath, I'd like you to take this state of meditation with you now as you open your eyes. Stay with the breath. There's that gap. That space of awareness. Now, to begin with, if you've had through this sessions or periods of thoughtlessness, you're very lucky. That's a terrific start. But that's relatively uncommon to start with. And more usually, you might find that your head continues to chatter and it still does what it does. But even if you're just watching that, just noticing your head chatter, that's a space starting to open up. And to begin with, that's really often the best you can do. Just noticing is enough. There I go again. There I go again. And every time you notice, that space opens up. So nice if you had that experience of thoughtlessness. That's really good, a benchmark for you. But that's relatively uncommon to start with. More often, it's to continue to chatter. So, watch your thoughts. See what your mind does. Don't think about thinking. Don't argue with your thinking. Just notice where your thoughts go and what your mind does to you. That's enough. Live in the here and now. Deal with what's really happening, not what has happened or what should happen or what may happen. Just focus on what really is happening. That's a big enough a challenge at the moment. And if you can focus on what really is happening in the present moment, you've got a chance. Right? But you're never going to be able to do the other stuff because you're making it up. Anyway, I would like to meet you all here again, same time next week, and we will plough a little bit deeper. We'll explore how we can use the body. We'll explore that we'll come back to the way of the body, how we can use the body to help us hold us in this place of awareness. Anyway, I will hang about a bit afterwards and take questions if you have any. But thank you very much for joining me, and see you again next week. Thank you.